Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the AFLW show. We have a very special show tonight. We are looking to our Pride round, and I thank Terry for giving us this beautiful backdrop this evening. I'm also joined by Nick, my great friend Nick from the Cheer Squad. He is also one of the committee members from Carlton Pride. Good evening, Nick. How are you?
I'm awesome, Shan. How are you?
Well, I've been better, but I'm
Spicy
currently
cough?
yes, I do. I'm currently at home isolating with COVID, but that's okay. I am perfectly fine, everybody. It's just one of those things that is bound to happen to someone sometime, and I am doing really well. But other than that, what else is news?
I respect and I admire your dedication first and foremost. A lesser human being would have taken a night off, but I'm happy you haven't taken a night off because not only do we have so much to look forward to with Pride Round coming up, but the Baggers had a win on the weekend.
The
And,
Baggers had a win. I am
and
seriously excited by the
nothing
fact that
suits
we
the
finally
soul.
got done.
Nothing
No.
suits the soul like a Baggers win. And Carlton have won their last two games down at Geelong now.
Yes.
The girls this year, and then 2020, the guys won down there. So we're two in a row down there after not winning there for about 15 years.
We are flying.
Yep.
And on that note, let's start the show.
Vesio with all the experience in the world. She kicks.
There it is, just on half time. Maddie Prasparkas.
That music
Every
is a bop.
time. It is a bop, isn't it?
An actual bop. That terminology is for my fiance Mish, who loves the fact that I call a good song a bop.
Well, it is a really good bop. Like every week I'm sitting there post just bopping away, but no, fantastic tune. And so we finished off last week's show completely thinking we were travelling up to Maroochydore to play the Brisbane Lions. 48 hours later, Brisbane can't field a side. The Bulldogs can't field a side. Game cancelled. We're now playing Geelong in Geelong. What a whirlwind 48 hours that was.
What a big week it's been in football, as Eddie Maguire would say. Look, a lot has happened over the past 7 days. Dare I say it, Carlton are very fortunate, and it's a great thing for us that we, no disrespect to Geelong, but they are not the quality of opposition that Brisbane would have been. So hopefully that little bit of extra luck and things falling our way might just be a bit of the spark they need to kick this season into gear, and hopefully that extra win might come in handy. Not that I don't think we could have beaten Brisbane, but it's a much tougher prospect. That extra one win might just mean all the difference come the end of the season between making finals or wherever they sit. You got to get the wins while they're available, and they got the job done on the weekend. They were very good.
They did. And while we're on topic, let's review. I had to re-watch the game because I was in the process of moving house over the weekend, but I did watch the replay yesterday, so I got a good look at the girls, and I was very, very impressed with a number of our players. More so the captain. She led from the front.
Comfortably the best player on the ground.
100%. And I think it's probably one of her better games that she's had for us in the last two seasons.
Absolutely. You talk about when you say our captain and our leader, the term leader comes to the fore. From the very first contest that she hit on the weekend, bustling through tackles, when the opposition got the ball, was tackling ferociously as if the footy was, her own property, which it kind of was, and it was stolen off her. And to go at 100% disposal efficiency, I know we're going to talk on that, but 23 touches for any position, let alone a key defender, is a great effort. But at 100% efficiency, and it wasn't just 100% efficiency kicking, sideways in the back pockets, one back and forth to each other. I would argue at least 20 to 21 of those disposals were setting up plays and pivotal touches in scoring chains, etc. I thought she was nothing short of perfect. It was close to the perfect game of footy you could see from a footballer.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Peter summed it up perfectly here. Perfectly. Cannot get any better. And another player that I thought did well in our midfield was Lucy McAvoy. She really stepped up this week in that first quarter. And every time I could hear the commentators just keep saying her name, McAvoy. And I'm just like, this is the kind of player. This is why we drafted her. We wanted that 100%. Kind of in and under player. And we can't go past Maddie Prasparkas either, but obviously we'll touch on that a bit later.
She plays footy all right, doesn't she? Yeah?
She does. She goes all right.
She's pretty good at footy, yeah.
And she's all ours.
Absolutely. You mentioned McAvoy. I remember having a conversation with you on this show pre-season. We're talking about who to expect, and we went through each player. When we got to Lucy McAvoy, I remember mentioning, is she ready to take that leap into the midfield this year? And without Grace Egan in the side this week out with injury, I think Lucy got a bit more opportunity in the midfield. And that first quarter, especially, not only Lucy, but I think Abby McKay was also outstanding early. I think they both had about 8 touches each in the first quarter. And I think about 13 or so each by half time. They were both fantastic. So we talk about we've also had this conversation, who's going to be the one to step up and help out Maddie Prasparkas. Both of those players, I think, were winning clearances, were winning the contested ball and dishing it out to Maddie, who I don't know what your thoughts were. I thought she played a bit of a different game, very much an outside midfielder this week. A lot of handball receives, which I'm very, very happy to see because she's a fantastic user of the footy. And just to manage her workload and her body as well, having her be the one having to get the pill every single time isn't conducive to a cohesive midfield. So I was very happy to see the others stepping up and being the feeders. It was great.
For once. And like we touched on it in the preseason, as you mentioned, who was going to be that player. And to see Maddie rack up the same amount of disposals as she normally would, but without actually killing herself doing it, is actually just showing growth within our list and growth within our midfield.
Yep.
And it's what we've been craving. And I think the game plan this week was a lot more open compared to the game against Collingwood. We were trying too hard against Collingwood, whereas Geelong, as you mentioned earlier, are probably not the most structurally sound team. Like, they've got some really good talent, Geelong, don't get me wrong.
The pieces are there with the Cats. They're just not quite at the level we played Collingwood the week before. I thought Collingwood's, their fitness level showed us up, but also their ability to spread and use the wings and the wide out parts of the ground when they're switching play in defence, etc. I think a lot of that is what we did to Geelong this week. I thought the likes of Harrington, Pound, Laloifi down back, just use that space to great effect. And then the outside runners, the Georgia G's, these sort of types, just found space and time with the ball, and Maddie as well. They were able to use the ball a lot better and a lot more effectively going inside 50. Who would have thought inside 50s matter? I thought first half our inside 50s were okay, nothing special. But by the end of the game, we really got on top, and it started to give the likes of Darcy. Darcy still didn't hit the scoreboard, but Darcy's involvement I thought was a lot better. And I thought Nicola Stevens was able to finish the game off really well as well. Some better inside 50s really gave her the first opportunity, and she had a very, very good end to the game, I thought.
Yeah, another player that I thought that I'm actually very impressed with after being robbed of a fantastic mark in front of us, which cost you a very good drink last week, was Courtney Jones.
Sorry, everyone who got covered in my drink. For those who don't know, I kind of went a bit nutty and threw a can of CC everywhere.
Look, Courtney Jones for me she backed up her performance.
She did. She played very well.
She did, and she was there when the ball was to be won in the forward line, alongside Georgia G, which we all know Georgia G is just an athlete and
what a skillful player.
Exactly right. And I think I can't really pinpoint any player that had a bad game. I mean, even Jessica Del Pos.
I thought Jess's ball use was fantastic. Yeah. Round one, she didn't get as much of the pill as she would have liked. Yeah, I thought she was very good. I thought she didn't get as much of the ball as she would like round one, Jess. But round two, found more of it and just used it really well. Again, was able to have a few more midfield minutes. No, I'm with you. I don't think there was anyone who really played a poor game. I'd like to see a lot more from Jess Good as the second tall behind Bree Moody. That's kind of the one link that Carlton really do need to find. That key, if she's going to be playing up forward, provide that contest. I don't need you to take 6 to 10 marks a game. That'd be awesome if you do. Just bring it to ground. We've got Georgia G, you got Vesio. We've got the likes of Mackay and McAvoy. Nicola Stevens runs around the forward line. They can all find the ball very easily. You just got to bring it to the ground and provide that contest. And then when the world's greatest ruck Bree Moody isn't doing her thing, just give her a chop out, a couple of minutes here and there. I thought Jess's ruck work was quite good, but just around the ground, she could lift a bit more, but I wouldn't say she had a bad game by any standards.
Her lowest point was probably her set shot in that last quarter.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
No, I was sitting there. I'm like, oh, she's taken a ripper mark here. Now she's got to finish off. No, that's a typical ruckman kicking the football, isn't it?
It was, and as a ruck, for me, my thing was handballing was never my thing. And those who visited the Marngrook Footy Show a couple of years ago, seeing me do a handball drill, what do they call it? The handball target. Know that as a ruck, I was never good at handballing. I'm not a terrible kick, but I'm not a good one. But yeah, when you're over 6 foot. Especially in the AFLW, when her height, you've got to be able to provide that contest. You did that okay, but when you get opportunities like that, you're dead in front of goal. You got to slot theirs. You got to kick those goals, and where she's fortunate that it didn't come back and bite us, because for the rest of the game we all pretty much had an even contribution or were able to get their job done.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think that at the end of the day, if it was a side like Collingwood, that kind of goal would have
hurts. 100%.
And I'm just thankful that we did get the win, because we're always happy after a win as baggers, and it's a good momentum push up for the game this week, which we'll touch on shortly. But I'd like to bring in our special guest for this evening. This gentleman is also part of the Carlton Pride Committee. I'll bring him in now. Welcome, Benji.
Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome.
How are you, buddy?
The AFLW show. How are you?
I'm good. Glad we got a win last week, as you just discussed. But it'll be great to get 2 in a row.
Darn right.
So, fellas, explain to everybody the importance of Pride Round. For those that don't know, every year we have a Pride Round in the AFLW, and we've had it against the Bulldogs pretty much since its inception.
Yep.
And we've always had it at Whitten Oval for some silly reason. I would like to have it at Icon Park once in a blue moon. We do a joint banner with the Western Bulldogs, which is fantastic. Not that we get to touch it because it's usually done before we get there, but that's another story for another day.
They're very efficient.
Very efficient. But I'll leave it to Benji and Nick to explain Carlton Pride, how it first came about, and just a little bit about Pride Round.
Over to you, big dude.
All right. So Carlton Pride started in 2017 with David Gould, which I think has been on the show. And basically myself and another guy, Dennis, contacted David through Carlton Football Club just to see if we can get some kind of group happening. I had previously contacted the club 6 months earlier with not much success. So 6 months later to get an email saying there's someone else that wants to start Carlton Pride was, it was good. We started from 3 in 2017, and we decided to start an interim committee later that year, where Nick and 3 or 4 others joined.
Yep, 4.
I can't quite remember, but
4.
So 5 years. Started with just foundation members joining to help finance what we wanted to achieve in supporting getting sponsored players and just creating a group for a safe space for LGBTI people to support our team, not necessarily go to the footy, but just discuss all things Carlton and just even meet up. So 5 years later, here we are. Is it fourth year? No, third year. Fourth.
This is our fourth Pride game.
Fourth Pride game that we're involved in. So yeah, we're chuffed.
And the Guernsey behind you was their inaugural Pride Guernsey, and that one was designed by the incredible Darcy Vesio. But that was our inaugural Carlton Pride's logo that was put on the Guernsey. But to have gone from there to here we are 4 years later, but 5 years since our committee's inception, to now have had input in designing this year's Guernsey has been a massive, massive ride in such a short time. What are your thoughts, having seen the Guernsey and our input that we've been able to have? I know it's been a blessing for me, but speak to, what does it mean to be able to have that input and helping conceptualize and design such a fantastic Guernsey for the footy club that we all love?
Yeah, so was it, I think July, was it June or July? This is
last year, ish, early to mid next year, last year, yeah.
Good 6 months, and it was actually really straightforward. It wasn't difficult at all. Like, we all kind of got together and just wanted to just show what Carlton Pride and LGBTI community through the jumper, as we've got the roots in the jumper, so starting from the base, and then I think family was a very strong issue.
Yeah, I think the themes were growth, struggle, family, and trans were the four key foundational themes we reached on. But how it grew from there has been, quite awesome to see. And we can conceptualize these themes in our head and say, look, these are important to us. But I'll speak on my behalf. I'm creative in many ways. Artistically is not one of them. So to design a Guernsey is not necessarily something I have expertise in. But for us to be able to put thoughts to the club, and to Ashley, who works at the club, has been the one who's helped put the artwork together and the formal design in the end, to see that conceptual art, or these conceptual themes put into a form of art, it's just an incredible process. It really is.
That when that design first come through, it was just like, this is exactly what the message we want to. The struggle that generations before us have gone through. What we've dealt with marriage equality, and now I think trans issues are a very strong issue at the moment.
Very pertinent.
That's up the top of the jumper where there's room for growth with trans. So even inside the community, like with Darcy coming out non-binary, like even for me, that like being part of the LGBTI community, like I still have to learn a lot about other letters in the LGBTI spectrum. Like
100%.
Yeah,
it's so true. And for us, we are part of the Carlton Pride Committee, and we are part of the LGBTIQ plus community. You hit the nail on the head. Even for us, there is so much that we are needing to learn, let alone trying to then, as a community and as a committee, seek to educate and help grow the education in others. We're on that journey ourselves, and I think that's a really important point. Someone like Darcy, what a rock star, but starting those conversations, and we're so thankful to have platforms, Shannon allowing us on the show. But Terry, earlier today, I saw Terry's interview with Beck from AFLW. For those who are watching this show, after you finish watching us, get back on Blue Broad's channel on YouTube or Facebook and find that video he did with Beck. Fantastic stuff getting done within the AFL Victoria space. Shannon, I knew you watched that as well. There's so much learning to be done in that space. I was really impressed by how Beck spoke.
Yeah, no, Beck's one of my work colleagues, and she's an absolute rock star. So for an ally like myself trying to understand, it's a really good video, and I urge everyone who wants to try and understand this space just to go and have a look and watch it. It's it's important because we want everyone to feel inclusive.
Absolutely.
And we want everyone to feel safe in this space. So I definitely urge people to jump on to Terry's YouTube and the Blue Board channel and give it a view, definitely.
And Benji, just from a personal standpoint, for this week brings them all out of the woodwork, and I'm no doubt that when this video gets put onto YouTube, there'll be the YouTube comments at the best of times awful to watch, but for all the detractors who maybe struggle with the concept of change and growth and inclusion, just as a personal thing, what does the Carlton Pride Committee and B having a safe place at the footy to go to, what is that sort of thing? How important is that to you in your personal journey?
For me personally, thinking back 5 years ago as a gay man going to the footy, sitting with a rainbow scarf, it just was not. It was just 100%. Not going to happen. So, Pride round now is definitely helped myself. I still struggle with the fact that where I choose to be out. So in the football community, I'm pretty much out. I'm not going to hide it, but there are certain circumstances where I still choose to be out because it's still not. I feel it's still not safe
to do so.
Place to be myself, and just I don't think it's harmful, but just the dialogue that comes from a lot of people that we've both seen in the last couple of days as well online. So I think this just helps myself just be who I am, being at the football. I'm not trying to be political. I just want to, be comfortable and be myself. So
there's nothing political about being yourself, is there?
No, not at all. But just being there with even everyone in the community, when people rush through in that fan zone, on the day, it's just amazing. Like just celebrations, celebrations. It just like allies. It just doesn't matter. Like
I remember that first year, the tent was incredible, and just the amount of people that just came and showed their support, and it gets bigger and better every year. So unfortunately, I'm missing it this year, but I want to see lots of photos on the Carlton Pride page. I want to see it all from home.
and you touch on it in the desire just to live an authentic life to yourself, and I want to be who I am. I want to be me anywhere. I want to feel comfortable to be myself anywhere. For me personally, it's something like yourself. 5 years ago, for me, footy was the one place in the world I probably wasn't able to feel myself and feel out. As a person who played footy and that sort of thing, footy was always, that's where I had to act tough and macho and all that sort of stuff. And I put up this shield, this barrier to not be my complete authentic self. And now looking back, I'm so thankful that we've got this around now, hoping that if there are, especially kids, if there's kids who are struggling with their feelings or their sexuality or their identity and whatever it is that they're feeling, the last thing anybody of sound, reasonable mind would want is for that confusion to continue. And for that uncomfortable feeling within themselves to continue. So for those people to say, why do I have to make sure I address someone with the correct pronouns? Why do I have to accept this? Why do I have to? It's a simple thing of respect. We're not asking you to change the world. We're not asking you to all of a sudden put on a dress and come to Pride March with us. We're not wanting you to do a dance in Midsummer. We're not. Simple thing of just treat others with respect and allow, especially young kids. There are still, we won't make it political and talk about all the ratios of LGBTIQ kids that are still taking their own lives or living with severe mental health issues as a result of discrimination. But while that exists, Pride Round needs to exist to give those kids people to look to and a place to look to for some hope and support. And ultimately, that's why we as a committee exist. We've got a lot of things planned, Ben. This weekend, we've got our Pride Marquee in the fan zone. Do you want to talk about what we're going to be doing there?
Yeah, so we've got, for those that don't know, we actually sell memberships every year. 3 levels of membership. just
And
to
the money
help.
goes towards?
The money goes towards, we sponsor a male and female player. We've got Jess Del Pos this year and Luke Parks.
Mm-hmm.
We also donate funds to non-profit organisations. We've donated to Joy FM. Switchboard.
Minus 18.
Sorry, thanks for reminding me. That's so long ago. But so we're also selling merchandise, our scarves. I've got my our original. This is the original here, which we don't sell anymore. But we
Shannon repping some of the badges we got on offer as well. Some of.
Yeah. Badges. I believe we have another badge that we haven't launched yet that the Cheer Squad helped us make.
We're going to launch. We're going to So that's part of. I'll quickly touch on that when you mentioned the Cheer Squad helping. For me, also seeing allies come to the fore, and the Cheer Squad is one. Terry and Blue Abroad and Shannon helping us with this channel is another, giving a platform to talk about these sort of themes and issues. To be able to see it come full circle, that creates a community and a safe place. It's, for me, the word ally is a verb, and people like Shannon giving this platform, people like Jovan through the Cheer Squad helping us create the banners at the badges at a discounted cost. The Cheer Squad getting involved, creating a Pride Round banner and stuff. That creates a community which is welcoming and fosters nothing but love and inclusion.
Definitely, yeah. And helping us with our raffles. We have a raffle this week. A Pride jumper is going off. And Darcy Vesio bobblehead.
A signed Darcy Vesio bobblehead.
They signed it yesterday.
And so both of those items are pretty sought after. So the Guernseys, I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments already talking about the Guernsey and how great it looks, but they're struggling to find stock because they might have already been sold out. They're such a popular item. We've got one up for raffle. But also the bobbleheads, Darcy's bobblehead from the Collingwood game. So many people weren't able to get to that game for whatever reasons. At the moment, I can understand a lot of people who aren't venturing out of the house or weren't able to venture out of the house. But Darcy has signed that personally. So it's an even more sought after item because they're very much a limited edition item itself. So 2 prizes up for grabs, and everyone who is in the comments who might be interested in either of those, hit up Carlton Pride's social media on either Instagram or Facebook, and all the details are there how to enter.
Just come and say hello.
100%.
Come and say hello. There's no obligation. You just come say
hello. We don't bite hard.
No, just softly.
Will you guys be set up in the same spot where the players usually park at those gates? Is it Barclay Street that it's
Barclay
on?
Street end is the one where it usually is. I believe that's where it still is. I have no reason to believe anything otherwise. But the Barclay Street end, just inside Gate 2, is where Carlton Pride's marquee will be set up. They'll also be right next door to the Carlton merchandise stand as well. Will be there. So it's going to be a hot day. So everyone, make sure you slip, slop, slap, and bring a hat and all that sort of thing. But if for whatever reason you forget a hat, they will be on sale at the Carlton store. The Carlton shop will be their mobile version, but we'll be there as well, bringing some colour, bringing some joy, and bringing some love to the day. And hopefully the Baggers bring home a second win, Benji.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Harrington playing another good game. Loved it. Bit of straighter kicking would be nice.
Look,
we just mentioned that Jess Good set shot, but I don't think she was alone. Set shots for goal is something we need to work on.
Yeah, those two in a row that went shakes. But anyway,
we're talking about this year's Guernsey and our input on it. I believe, Shane, did you see during yesterday, or you might have launched it? The clubs released asking for input for anyone can help input for next year's Pride Guernsey. I saw that get launched.
Yep, that was put up on I think the socials yesterday or today. Yeah. Had a bit of a flick through. So if anyone who wouldn't normally put their hand up to do something like this and they're very creative, why not? It's a great opportunity to put your stamp on something that's every year just gets better and better. So I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to seeing what next year's will bring.
And it's contributing to Carlton's history. The history of
Yep.
our football club is so important. And when the full redevelopment of Icon Park is finished, there's going to be a museum aspect put in there. And these are the sort of things that'll be moments in time showing the journey of our football club. You know, we talk about the history of the monogram of the CFC, but the Guernsey in general. These are just updates and the evolution of not only the Guernsey itself, but the consciousness of a club. So, yeah, for all the creative types, and God knows this channel is a great vehicle of proving how many creative types we've got in our Carlton community. You know, put your hand up and, you know, help contribute. We'd love to see some awesome designs get put through.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna have to step it up though. After
I was going to say, beating ours this year is going to take a lot of effort.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I look forward to seeing everyone come forward for the challenge.
I see Pom in the comments asking, when are the AFL men's team getting a Pride Guernsey? I love an alternate Guernsey. AFL need to adopt the EPL model and have a few, so we can have some different brands. Look, that's a goal, I think, to see the AFLW is definitely a far more inclusive space for the LGBTIQ community. It's just visibility matters ultimately. I don't think, on the whole, as a general term, that the AFL men's competition is not welcoming. It's just that there is no movement being made there.
Don't see a Pride round happening in the AFL.
Happening anytime soon. No.
But,
yep.
One game.
In Kilda that do have the
Saints and Swans have a Pride game. Yep, and that's very awesome. And that's for many people. Benji, I know you can speak to it. That's an event for many people in the community who don't even go for St Kilda or Sydney to go to each year.
I think the last couple of years, I think COVID has kind of
affected that. Yeah,
but definitely, I remember the first year that St Kilda and Sydney had that. It was like the AFL game was like the secondary. It was the show.
It was
that they had on beforehand and during I would love a Pride round, and I would love Carlton to be involved in it.
And when we talk about growth, and one of the key themes in the Guernsey is there is still much so far to go. We're making all of these inroads and all this awesome work's getting done, but there is still a long way to go. As long as we still hear it far more often at the men's games. A lot of the slurs that come out of the crowd toward players, toward other fans, toward the umpires. I do a lot of the slurs to the umpires, but maybe not certain terminology. But you know, it's you know, we've still got a long way to go still to just soften some hearts and make a more inclusive and safe space for everyone.
Yeah, we would love Carlton to produce a men's size women's jumper. That would be the first step over the list, because every year the same question comes up.
I saw I'm going to quickly give some credit to whoever the person was that tagged us in it, but give me one moment. The Pride group got tagged in a meme on Instagram, and I've got to find this now. Come on. Oh, hang on. I know how to find it.
While I've got you, Carlton did request a home game for the Pride game in the AFLW, but
good.
I think Bulldogs requested it initially, so I think it's sitting with Bulldogs for a little while, but there is some movement. We're trying to push it because we would love to have it on the park.
How good would it be in the new redeveloped Icon Park having a Pride round in our home backyard? Yeah. That would just be like ace.
Perfect. Yeah.
The meme says, Carlton's Pride Guernsey looks amazing. Sad that they don't come in men's sizes. And then the reply says, not everything has to be for you. And he goes, but men are part of the Pride community too. I want to show support for the AFLW. And the reply says, how often has football marginalised women? Shoes on the other foot now, champ. And then they said, why would Carlton hate my money? Why don't they want to take it? And that's the ultimate thing for me. We want to spend money too. As you know, I'm wearing the women's size. I'm very lucky that my body shape is somewhat conducive to wearing a women's Guernsey, but it is designed for the female form. Yeah, it's very much something. I think it's ultimately something we have to take up with Cotton on. But it is something that we have seen each year with AFLW in general, with so many people wanting to support the AFLW program. But Pride Week is something that really identifies this need for more options in the merch sizing.
Definitely. Well, hopefully their Pride range will help with that.
They haven't launched it yet, but we were able to talk about it, I guess. The club
okay.
No, well, they haven't launched it, but we can talk about it. I don't think it's necessarily a secret. It's going to be coming pretty soon. But the club have come to the fore, and we're going to have some Carlton Pride merchandise sold through the Carlton store.
That's fantastic.
And this has been directed via the club. So they came to the table to us and said, is this something you would like? So we have our own merchandise via the badges that Shannon's got, via these I got the hiccup, sorry, and the scarves that we sell. But the club have come to the fore, and they've got things like T-shirts, both short and long sleeve, hats, beanies. I think socks might have been on there. I can't even think from the memory. But we've seen the concept art for this, and it's looking amazing. I think we're currently waiting on probably the new store fit out and everything to be done at the club before they'll have it in person. But yeah, so there's so much stuff, and I personally want to thank Carlton, the staff, and the club itself for helping drive this over the past couple of years. But we're very, very fortunate to have a club, despite popular belief about where we've come from. But we've got a club who currently not only taking the issues very seriously, but kicking some great goals in this space.
Definitely.
Fantastic, and it's something that is long overdue, I feel, and I'm actually proud of my football club right now. So it's something that we don't really say too often about our football club when it comes to on-field performances, but if we can do things off-field to help improve the community, then I'm all for whatever the club's putting down, and good on the Carlton Football Club for approaching you guys and moving forward, and this is the kind of thing that we want. Like you said before, visibility is everything. So
absolutely
fantastic.
Yeah, definitely filling out the member survey at the end of the year. The ink's a bit lighter. It's not as aggressive. I'm not as aggressive when I'm writing.
Not viciously typing.
There's there's a lot of pride with Carlton at the moment. We're very grateful.
And there'll be even more if there's a win on the weekend.
Yep,
that's it. Great segue, Nick. You're welcome to stick around, Benji, while we preview the Bulldogs game. We'd love your input here. Every year we have really good battles with the Bulldogs in this Pride game. I think they got the wood on us last year from memory.
They came back from behind and pipped us at the last minute.
That's right, yeah. So what are your thoughts, gentlemen? Are we winning this game? Who's coming in? Are we making any changes? What are your thoughts?
Do you want to go, Ben?
To be honest, I don't know much about who's coming in, so I'll leave that with you.
For me, I think in terms of, I saw Brooke Walker was a late out last week, so she did the warm-up, she did everything, she was there looking fine, just didn't feel too good during the warm-up and was a late omission. And Charlotte Hammonds took her spot in the team. And for the record, I thought Charlotte Hammonds played a pretty good game. But you would believe if she's feeling okay now that Brooke Walker would be a walk-up start back into our team. And the great mystery that surrounds Charlotte Wilson, hopefully it's solved this week. It feels like a Scooby-Doo episode at the moment, and we're having to pull the ghost mask off. And she does exist. The club put a photo out of her today at training, so they're not hiding her anymore. We can only hope that things are fine in her world. She's doing well, both physically and mentally. We know nothing about what's going on and why she hasn't been playing. We have only speculation. And dare I say, some transparency might put an end to some of that speculation. But no, I again, if she is well enough to play, again, would be a walk-up start into any team. So pending their fitness, I would be putting both of them in. For who is a big question. Charlotte Hammonds was the last in. I don't think she did anything wrong.
No,
Shan, who do you would you take her out again? It's hard.
It is hard, but it would probably come down to who they thought had more of an impact.
Yep.
Of that back half, especially if you're looking at defensively. But if Brooke Walker was to come in, I know she's more of a forward these days. Do you go like for like in that forward line, or do you leave it as is? So it's going to be an interesting deal for the match committee there, and I'm leaning towards bringing her back in just for the fact that the Bulldogs are a running side, and we don't know who's going to be in for them and what their situation is.
Say they've just had a week off because they didn't have enough players to field a team with COVID, so anything could happen on their end. I saw an article today that suggested that majority of those who were isolating returned to training yesterday for the Bulldogs. But again, a lot of them haven't trained for over a week. I know that a lot of them are elite athletes, but they haven't trained in over a week. So that disruption could go either way. It could galvanise their group. It could just disrupt things. So we might be finding ourselves a bit of a vulnerable opponent again this week. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I really don't know what to make of the opposition. The Bulldogs, anything could really come from them this week.
No, I think Ellie Blackburn's definitely one of the ones to watch, regardless of whether she had COVID or not. She is an elite athlete and an absolute star. So I just think that, it's going to be a good contest. I want it to be a good contest. It's going to be two completely different sides from what played last year as well. So we've got to try and factor that into the conversation. What are your thoughts, Benji? Did you see someone that you think could potentially come in, or do you think we're happy as is and we're just going to go out there and
don't change your winning formula?
I just think after last week, I believe, we played really solid across the whole field. The Moody sisters battle would be very interesting. I have to say, I've become a big Bring Moody fan because we sponsored Elle Downey. I was more just watching Elle Downey. 100%. She's come on leaps and bounds in the last 2 years, definitely.
She's already an All-Australian, Brie Moody, and a best and fairest winner for us.
Yeah.
But it's weird to say it in this way, but if the penny properly dropped for her, I think she could be the best player in the competition. She's such an athlete for her size, runs like the wind, and
she actually does.
Pure dominance in the ruck, just able to stay in the contest, and her repeat efforts. The ball hits the ground very much like to liken it to the men's competition, it's like a Nat Nui, just manages to stay in every single contest, no matter whether the ball's in the air or on the deck, never looks out of it. Off the top of my head, I've been thinking if we're going to bring back Wilson and Walker, who would miss out. I spoke before about Jess Good up forward kind of being the one who might need to lift, but she kind of plays that backup ruck role. So for me, then, if Charlotte Wilson comes in as another tall option, she's more of a defender. Maybe it's Paige Trudgeon that kind of is the unlucky one. I thought she did some very good things on the weekend, but would probably be the one like for like with Charlotte who would miss out. And then for Brooke, it's a toss-up pretty much. Charlotte Hammonds came in. I don't think she did much wrong. Didn't get a lot of the ball, 5 or 6 touches. Wasn't exactly setting the world on fire. Either her or...
maybe Guerin.
Again, who?
Maddie Guerin.
Maddie Guerin, first game back on the weekend. Yeah. Maddie was okay. Her standards are quite high. She's a good player. She was. I don't think she. Yeah, might take a week or so to find herself again back in the lineup. The one other one for me who I don't really know at the moment, it might be Nat Plain. I don't know what her role is at the moment. She provides a lot of run and stuff when she's on, but I just don't know what role she's kind of playing at the moment. So she might be another one to maybe speculate in terms of if.
With our coach, you never really know what role any of them are really playing at any given time. And to be fair on Charlotte Hammonds, Brooke Walker really didn't set the world on fire against Collingwood either.
Brooke
so
didn't, no.
she's not an automatic restart either. So she may have just knocked her out just by performance wise, but that obviously that'll come back down to what they think we need. I feel Brooke's probably a little bit quicker than Charlotte in a sprint, which is probably what you're going to want against a fast Bulldog side. Like when you've got your Ali Blackburns and your Brooke Laughlin's and all of those sorts of players, they're quite quick off the mark. I mean, they've got a really, really, really good midfield, the Bulldogs, so we can't really underestimate them regardless of whether they've had a week off or not.
I think you're right in saying Brooke Walker had a poor round one. I think a lot of the team did. Over the journey, she's put runs on the board, I'd kind of say, though, when she's proven herself over the journey to have what it takes. And I think she's played, having played several seasons already, her fitness base would be there. It's going to be hot on the weekend, mid-30s, 35 degrees or something on the weekend.
Crazy.
You want players who are going to be able to run out 4 quarters. So for me, that's why I'd be putting her back in. She knows what it takes at that level.
Traditionally, I think this game has always been high scoring, hasn't it?
Yeah, very well said. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to jump out there, but goals might be important. But,
and Brooke knows where they are.
Yeah, definitely. That first game where we got pummeled was.
I think they scored 100 points in that game. I think it was. I think they just murdered us right the first one.
7 goals by one player, but Darcy kicked the goal yet this year?
No,
they
haven't.
They're due. Sorry,
Darcy's due. Yeah.
They are very, very much due. They came close on the weekend, but I think they just need a little bit of a confidence booster, and I hope the Bulldogs game can lift them because we really want them to shine.
And even it's good to see goals coming from the midfield, but as you're saying, Benji, this game traditionally has been a high-scoring involvement. We've debated, we probably will every week for the rest of the year. What will our forward mix look like? You take out the likes of a Taylor Harris at the start of the year, and then Serena Gibbs has, some issues to work around, and she's not on the list, who was meant to be the heir apparent to that key forward slot. It kind of is a bit of a licorice all sorts down there in terms of where we're going to get goals from. And if it isn't Darcy, well, Nicola Stevens on the weekend was much better. But if it's not them, we've mentioned before, Courtney Jones has stepped up and is starting to hit the scoreboard. I really think on the weekend that, Elise O'Day was fantastic. Kicked the first goal, but was involved in a lot of the other goals. So we've got enough people down there who know how to find the ball and find the goals. It's just a matter of we've got to find some cohesion and what is the best mix. Georgia G knows where the goals are. So, it's really, really interesting. I think it's going to be an ongoing conversation we have all year. How can Supreme Leader, Coach Harford and the team find the best mix to, get us the W's?
Yeah.
End of the day, W's are the most important. And
all that matters. If they could kick 1 goal and win, I'd be pretty bored. But I'd love it. Win is all that matters.
That's exactly right. Really another good segue here. We have a tipping competition for the AFLW currently, and Michelle, lovely Michelle, is
she goes all right.
Well, you have to say that, and we all agree. But we
I don't
are
have to say anything. I choose to.
Yes, well, that's it. Every week she's giving us her tips for the weekend, not just for our game, but for all games. And this week she sent them through to me not long ago. She's going with Collingwood, Adelaide, Melbourne, Freo, Brisbane, North. And for the first time...
Who are these teams playing? I need to do my tips. Who are these teams playing? Collingwood, she tipped against...
Hang on. Let me bring it up. Collingwood against Geelong.
Yeah, they'll kill them. Yep.
Adelaide to beat West Coast.
Yeah, they'll kill
Melbourne
them. Yep.
to beat St Kilda.
Ooh.
Freo to beat Richmond. Brisbane to beat Gold Coast. North to beat the Giants. And she said for the first time this year she is picking the Blues. So she's picking us this week. I am
Not a
very.
lot to argue with there, I would say. North and GWS sounds like a decent game, though.
It
I'd say
does.
Melbourne's a good chance to get the highest score in the league.
Playing the Saners.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Certain someone's birthday tomorrow. You're going to get a whack for that.
There's a certain St Kilda supporter who's not happy with the position of St Kilda at the moment. So
when you take out their two best, I was about to say the two best midfielders, the two best players out of that side, they're always going to struggle. Famous last words. Do we play them? They're probably going to kick 8 against us or something. Now I say that, but they're going to struggle this year. I think the Saints,
yeah. Side note, that the actual leaderboard for this tipping competition sees some actually pretty high up people here. We have LK88, who is first, who got all 6 last week. Methodical Flamethrower. The beautiful Natalie Gasper. I know. The beautiful Natalie Gasper is coming third, followed by your beautiful fiancée, Michelle. Then we have Sandra S44, Rob Centurino, another great person who is rounding out the top 6 there. Nick, you have dropped to 11th, and I am sitting at 14th.
I tipped Geelong.
Oh.
I picked Carlton, and it flipped to Geelong. I am not happy.
I actually thought Carlton, but after round 1, I was that despondent, and I said, "Nah, stuff it. Coach Harford can whatever." But no, they. I was very happy to get that one wrong. Look, so Michelle's sitting 4th, you said.
Yep.
So these tips that she sends through, we can actually listen to them because they come with some validity. So I'm beating Nick in the tipping.
Hi, Michelle.
Is that because you ask me who to tip each week? No, I'm kidding. It's all her.
Oh.
She's the brains and the beauty of the outfit.
Well, if I'm going to end it on that one. That's a fantastic way to finish. It's been an absolute pleasure having you both on this evening. I will remind everybody again, for those who have just joined us, that Carlton Pride do have a marquee set up this weekend. Game is at the Whitten Oval on Sunday afternoon. Make sure you get down there. Go say hi to Nick and Benji. They'll both be there, both decked out in their Carlton Pride proudly. Yep. I will be screaming from my couch at home. My poor husband and my daughter will be watching with me.
She'll be screaming too.
She will be screaming too. But thank you both very much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed coming on, Benji. It's probably your first time on the AFLW show. Nick, always a pleasure to co-host with you.
Okay, yeah, thanks so much for having us, and obviously I'll say it again, but giving us the platform. You not only do we love this show and love the AFLW program, but we love Blue Abroad as a general broader community, and for Terry and yourself and Pom and everyone who's associated with Blue Abroad, just the allyship and everything that goes along with it helps make Carlton a better community and a better club for this sort of discourse.
That's it.
Thank you.
No. Have a great evening, everybody. Up the baggers, and we'll see you all next week.
Baggers.